Good evening, Marion County, and welcome to our 5th ever question and answer live event right here on Facebook.com/Marion County Clerk Office and simultaneously on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Marion County Clerk Office. I'm Chad Mattingly. I'm your clerk tonight. We're coming to you on December 23rd, 2025, Christmas Eve. And the last one, the 4th ever question and answer live event, we went a little long, about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. Not going to do that tonight. I'm going to buzz right through this because, in all honesty, I'm ready to be home with the family. And but we want to do this in an effort to offer a forum so that people can get their questions answered, put out there on social media and YouTube, questions that we hear a lot here at the office, so that the answers to those might benefit you as well. Your question is important. As you can see from that little graphic right there, Rosie's got a question that a lot of other people would like to know the answer to, and Randy's got a question that'll help many people, and Richard has the best question of all, but no one will ever know because Richard is just going to sit there and think it. Richard isn't going to ask it. So feel free to ask it. Feel free to ask a question. You can call us live. Let's see if I can get the phone over here. That way you can hear it. Don't want to knock my checks mix. Been in here working on tomorrow's deposit and daily report, and I've been nibbling on some checks mix that one of the vendors left. We're very thankful for all the people that have left us treats this holiday season. They really come in handy. You hear that dial tone? That could be you asking your question right here at 270-692-2651. Let's kick right into it. Let's start talking about motor vehicles first this time. We started with elections the previous 4. Let's start with motor vehicles this time because we're getting close to the end of this, the calendar year. And the end of the calendar year is important in motor vehicles because taxes are levied against you on what you own January 1st. So it's important to get vehicles out of your name or get vehicles in your name. The December 31st, January 1st is a big time in motor vehicles. We had a question this week. The question was, I have several vehicles titled to me. If I come in early to renew one, can I renew them one at a time, or must I renew them all at the same time? That depends. If a vehicle is delinquent, let's say that your birth month is August, and you have a farm truck that's due in March. Well, if you come in July or August to renew one of your vehicles that are due in August, and you hadn't paid for that farm truck yet, then we must collect that delinquent tax. We don't have to renew it, but we have to collect that delinquent tax. But let's say you don't have a farm truck and your birthday's in August, you can come in February or March, right after you get your income tax refund, and renew one of them. You can come in June, right after you sell something at the market and pay for another one, and then you can come in July and pay for another one and finish it up with another one in August. As long as none of them are delinquent, you can renew them as throughout the year up until they're delinquent, because taxes are levied. Right now we couldn't renew that vehicle that's due in August of next year because January 1st hasn't happened. On January 1st, the value of those vehicles will be populated according to the trade-in value, and that will be the assessment for the most part on most vehicles, and that can't happen until January 1st. Now, any vehicle that's in your name on January 1st, you will owe the taxes on it for that year. Some people have January birthdays, and they pay that tax almost immediately. Some have June and July birthdays, and they drive that vehicle for 6 months without paying that tax. People that paid their 2025 tax in January of this year, we've got people that are coming in right now that are paying the same tax, but almost 12 months later, 11 months later, because it doesn't come due for them until the end of the year. But that tax was levied against them on January 1st. So if you sell a vehicle in the middle of the year, then you will still owe that tax even if you haven't got to your renewal period yet. So yes, you can renew vehicles throughout the year after January 1st individually without having to pick them all up, unless one of them's delinquent, and then we've got to pick up the taxes. Just a reminder, the plate, if you do sell one, keep the plate. The plate stays with the person now, not the vehicle. And an unexpired plate can be reissued to a vehicle at any time for a lower fee than what it would cost to get a new plate. So be sure to keep your plate. When you do sell one, we always recommend that you come to the clerk's office to meet that person, because if you don't want to give the person a title and they not transfer that vehicle, and you get stuck coming in, and we'll stick with that hypothetical situation. You come in August and we're like, hey, what about that Toyota Corolla? Do you want to do it too? And you say, well, I don't have that Toyota Corolla. I sold that back in March. I gave them a title. Just because you give them a notarized title does not mean the vehicle is out of your name. We always recommend meeting them at the clerk's office, whether you're buying or selling. Sometimes you give people a title and they have good intentions and don't make it to the clerk office. Sometimes you get a title that's signed and notarized, but when you get to the clerk office, it has delinquent taxes against it, or it's not the most current title. So whether you're buying or selling, it's always recommended to meet the other party at the clerk office to ensure that you get it transferred properly. If you got a title that needs to be junked out, then do that before the end of the year. Let's look at our schedule here to figure out how many opportunities you have left to do that this year, because again, if you don't junk that title before the end of the year, then the taxes are very likely going to be still in your name come January 1st. Thank you, Joe, for joining us tonight and helping me out by showing me that the chat is working, comments are working. So if you got a question, don't hesitate to put it right there in the comments, and we'll try to get it. It looks like with the setup I've got here, we are able to see those. So before we get out of motor vehicles, one more thing, be sure to be careful about who you share joint ownership with. We had somebody come in today that had a title with an ex, and they were wanting to renew their tags, but the ex had delinquent taxes on another vehicle that they had junked out but not turned the title in. So when we went to renew it, we said, we've got to pick up these taxes. So I think they're going to come back. They were going to get in touch with their ex and work out something, but it caused it was a burden for them at the time. So be careful about whose vehicles you share joint ownership with, because if they've got back taxes, it's gonna show up against you too. So I think, unless anybody's got any questions tonight, that's about all we've got for the motor vehicles. Big thing is, if you've got any vehicles that you're junking out, now is the time to turn in those titles so that they don't get taxed next year. We're going to look at the schedule there. We're here tomorrow, and by we're here tomorrow. We're going to be fairly short-staffed tomorrow. And so we've been telling everybody that if you're going to get here early, because we're here until closing time or until the building closes. So we'll go over some of that towards the end of the question and answer live event here. But we are here tomorrow, and then we'll be out for a 4-day weekend. The state schedule this time has, instead of Christmas Eve, the day after Christmas, as a state holiday. And next week we'll be here for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We've got a question in the chat. Scott is asking if they still do driver testing in Marion County the first Tuesday of the month. Marion County was, and this is not something that we do here at the county clerk office, where they used to do driver testing and driver's licensing over at the circuit clerk's office. We've never really had a role in the driver's licensing, but I just happened to. But I know that Marion County was part of a pilot program to get driver testing back in the local counties, and we do have some driver testing in Marion County. The road test, you schedule that through the state police. Kentucky State Police is where you schedule that, and they'll have the times. I don't have those times offhand. Sorry, Scott, but you will go through the state police, and it is once a month. You're right about that. I'm pretty sure. And I don't, with the setup I've got here, got the ability to Google. If you were calling during, if I was sitting up there on the front line, I'd Google it and try to figure it out to help you out. But I don't know that off the top of my hand, but you are right. We do have some driver testing. I think for the written test, you still have to go to one of the regional offices. Closest regional offices to us will be Bardstown, and I went to Danville to renew my license a couple years ago and get the real ID, and it worked out. I went over there. I was about to let it expire, believe it or not, and I went over there before I was headed out of town, and without an appointment, and had to wait around for a little while, but caught up on some news or something, and did some people watching, and phones were ringing that I didn't have to answer, so it wasn't very stressful for me. But I did it in Danville, and I got it that day. Drive.ky.gov is the best place to get information. I'd already figured out what information I needed to take. I think I took to get my real ID, my birth certificate, and my W-2. I got my real ID. But yeah, that's a great question, Scott. So yeah, looking at our schedule, be here very short staff tomorrow, but we'll be here. And then next week, all hands on deck here at the clerk office. Last week of the year, everybody's going to get a good long weekend, and next week we'll be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Even New Year's Eve we'll be here for a full day with hopefully a full staff, and we'll be here to rock and roll next week. You can see that we do have Saturday hours generally every Saturday except for holiday Saturdays here at the Marion County Clerk Office. This past Saturday was our last Saturday of the month, but we'll be back that second Saturday in January. There's some of our license plates that I was going to put up while I was talking about motor vehicles. Let's shift gears to the election portion of some of the things we do here at the county clerk office. Big primary election coming up in May. We always get questions during primary elections. I wanted to vote for somebody. How come they wasn't on my ballot? Well, primary elections are held on the first Tuesday after the third Monday in May, and they're a nominating election for the parties. The primary elections are closed to qualified registered members of those parties. So the parties are nominating their candidates to go on to the general election. So to be qualified as a member of a party, you must be registered to that party by December 31st of the year preceding the primary. So that date is coming up really soon. One of the big impetuses behind these live events is to help educate about the primary election coming up. So you can only be eligible to vote in one party's primary, and the choice of which party that is has to be made by December 31st. So I'm not going to read the statute this time. I've got the statute here. But it basically boils down to you got to register with that party by December 31st and not change after that. If you go into the new year as one party and change to the other party after January 1st, it knocks you out of voting in either of the party primaries. I told you I'm not going to read the statute. I'm going to read the statute because it clearly, it says, before a person shall be qualified to vote in a primary, he or she shall have been a registered member of the party in whose primary he or she seeks to vote on December 31st, immediately preceding the primary, and shall have remained, here's the part that I wanted to read, shall have remained continuously registered as a member of that party in whose primary he or she seeks to vote between December 31st, immediately preceding the primary, and the date set for the primary. So you must be registered by December 31st, and you can't change from December 31st to the primary. Now, in the case of a new registration made after December 31st, a voter shall have registered and remained continuously registered as a member of the party in whose primary he or she seeks to vote from the date of registration till the date set by the primary. The choice has to be made between now and the end of the year, basically, on which party primary you want to vote. Now, when it gets to the general election, here's the big thing. When it gets to the general election, it's not closed to member of party. You can vote for a Republican on one race, a Democrat on another race, an independent on another race. You can leave them blank if you don't like either of the choices. You can vote however you want in the November. In the primary election, you can leave them blank too if you don't like either of the choices. But in the primary, you can only vote in one of the party's primaries because it's not an election like the general election. It's a nominating election. The winner of the primary goes on to the general election. Let's look at what's on the ballot. This is going to make a difference on how people want to register and which party primary they want to participate in, I think. In the federal races, we've got the U.S. Senate. This is a big race. This is the first time that Senator Mitch McConnell will not be running for that seat since forever. In my perspective on the reality, in my lifetime, it'll be the first time that Mitch McConnell's not ran for that seat. And then we've got U.S. Congress will be up this time. We're in the first district. On the state level, this is one that's got a lot of local attention. Our state senator, our very own locally Senator Jimmy Higdon, who's served in that seat for a long time and has been an asset to our county by having Senator Higdon, in the state senate, has announced that he's going to finish out his term, but he's not seeking re-election. And there's been local candidates that have expressed their intent, have filed to run, and a lot of people are interested in that race. State rep will be on the ballot this time. Our state rep is Sarge Pollock out of Campbellsville. And then the county offices. All the county offices are on the ballot this time. You can see them there: property valuation administrator, county judge, county attorney, sheriff, jailer, coroner, county clerk, county surveyor, and all 5 of the magistrates. Let's see who's filed locally. Now, for the federal and state offices, those are filed at the Secretary of State office. Any of the county and local elections that are coming up in the cities, the city of Lebanon, the city of Bradfordsville, and the city of Loretto, those will all file here. The school board, soil and water conservation district, those file here at the county clerk office. These are the folks that have filed so far for office in Marion County, the local offices. I've got them in order of filing, so whoever was here first is at the top. And, that was Tina Wright Huntsberger. She was running for jailer. Jackie Fogel, magistrate in District 4. Ray Gardner for sheriff. David Darty for county judge executive. Tony Furman for jailer. Craig Allen Bishop for magistrate in District 3. Larry Snook Mattingly, magistrate in District 2. Joe Pat Kirkland, magistrate in District 1. Jeff Cowell, sheriff. Chad G. Mattingly for county clerk. Terry Catfish Rakes for property valuation administrator. Caleb Buckman for magistrate District 5, and R. Allen Mattingly for coroner. Now, this is the party breakdown as of right now in Marion County. This was as of it's about as up to date as you can get. There might have been a couple people that got their driver's license this afternoon, but other than that, this was as of this morning. There are right now 13,526 total registered voters in Marion County. Of those, almost 56%, 7,555, are registered as Democrat. 5,089, 37.62%, registered as Republican. And then you see the third party. So how this breaks down on a primary election is there are 7,555 people that will be eligible if they don't change their voter registration after January 1st. If today was January 1st, 7,555 people could participate in the Democrat primary. 5,089 voters could participate in the Republican primary. And then those other parties, other people registered as other, independent, libertarian, green, Constitution, socialist workers, or reform, would not be able to vote in either of the Democrat or Republican primary because they're not a member of the party. They're registered as either an other, an independent, or a third party. So you must be registered as a member of the party and then stay continuously registered as a member of that party. Let's look at how those numbers compare to the last time we did a live event, which was on December 11th. I had done the numbers a couple of days earlier, and you can see that there, it looks like we've lost a couple of voters. There were 13,532. I'm having a hard time reading. I don't get a full screen on this setup that I've got, but we had lost a couple of voters, 6 voters it appears, and it looked like the click it right, Chad. I'm sorry, y'all. It looks like that 12 had registered, 12 additionals had registered as Republican, 20 fewer as Democrat. But mostly the numbers have stayed the same. Are you going to be 18 years old by the November election? Not by the May primary. You will be. There are those folks in Marion County that will be eligible to vote in the May primary that aren't 18 yet. As long as you're 18 by the November general election, you can register to vote. And there are two ways to do that. Um, we have paper application here at the office. You're more than welcome to come fill that out. If you're just changing your party affiliation, or if you're just changing one aspect of your voter registration, we had somebody in just the other day and gave them the voter, the voter registration. It's not on those little cards anymore. It used to be on a like a half sheet of paper. Now the voter registration application, the voter registration form, is a full sheet of paper. It looks more daunting than it is. It's your information, your name, your date of birth, your social security number, your address, which party you want to be, and then there's some more stuff at the bottom that asks if you want to be a poll worker and that kind of thing. But if you're just changing one aspect of it, you can go online. That's about as easy. If you're watching one of these live stream events, you can go to govote.ky.gov right now and see how you're registered. You can look at your current voter registration, and then if you need to, you can change it right there at govote.ky.gov. That's, if you got bookmarks, bookmark that, because if you ever need a absentee ballot, that's the place to request that. If you ever want to see where our polling locations are going to be, that is the one-stop shop for Kentucky elections. And that's the Secretary of State's, that's the State Board of Elections website. Don't register to vote at any website other than that. If it doesn't have that .gov at the end of it, then don't use it. And if it's not ky.gov, don't use it. So the reason I say that, Marion County, Indiana is Indianapolis, the largest city in Indiana. I think it's the largest city. I could be wrong, but Indianapolis, though, I mean, it's the home of the Colts and the Pacers and but that's Marion County, Indiana. And occasionally we'll get a voter registration. Somebody got online, didn't read the website real good, and registered to vote in Kentucky for an Indianapolis address. Of course, we don't accept that. That is not an address within the jurisdiction of Marion County. So we don't. If it was another county, we would forward that on to that county. But since it's Indiana, if they've got a phone number, we'll call them and say, hey, we'll have a good laugh with them. We'll tell them what happened, and they'll register it where they need to. But if you're online, govote.ky.gov. Don't go to govote.in.gov or govote.tn.gov or whatever the Tennessee and Indiana or ky.gov. That's where we want to stay. And register to vote, and it goes directly to our voter registration system. It's safe, secure, and quick. It's quicker than filling out a whole brand new voter registration card. Talking about making sure that you go to the right website. If you look at the screen, that's what those websites will look like. On the right hand side, you'll see the mobile version. You can see on that mobile version all the different things that you can do at that website and what it looks like when you get into the online voter registration. And then at the bottom, you see what it looks like on a desktop or a laptop. If you don't see that, then don't give them your social security number and your address and your date of birth and all that information. But be thinking about it before December 31st. That's your deadline. Here's important election dates. December 31st, that's the last day to choose party affiliation before the 2026 primary election. April 4th, we were talking about, that's 45 days before the election. That's when people can start requesting mail-in absentee ballots for the primary. You do have to have an excuse, an excuse that's been approved by law to request a mail-in absentee ballot. Some of the most common excuses are people that have they're either for reasons of age or disability can't get to the polling locations. College students will mail them to those that live here. That's their parents live here. They live here, but they're away at college. That's one of the reasons that we can mail somebody a ballot. The last day to register, if you haven't registered yet, is April 20th. May 5th is when the online portal closes. You notice that's a couple of weeks before the election, at which point there's some, you still have to have an excuse, but you can vote in person in the office. Note that Saturday is not, Saturday the 9th is not, we'll be here in the office doing motor vehicles and our regular Saturdays activities, but by law we won't be able to allow you to vote on that day. Hey, that's my sister in the comments. Hey, Trissy Lynn. And then the early voting will be the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday prior to the election, and primary election will be on May 19th. A couple of dates that aren't on that graphic. The candidate filing began on November 5th and runs through January 9th. So again, we'll be here tomorrow for an undetermined amount of time with a very short staff, but all hands on deck next week for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then that first full week in January we'll be here all week. If somebody wants a filing packet, give me a call. I can either print it off and have it ready for you, or I can email it to you. I can even send you a packet that shows what the Department for Local Government has as the official duties of each of these offices, because you'd be surprised some of the things that these offices are responsible for. Out of all those, there's a chapter for each office, and the county clerk chapter is the longest chapter. There are many things we do here at the county clerk office. So yeah, January 9th is the last day at 4 o'clock. We'll be here until 20 after 4 that day, but at 4 o'clock I'm going to close that door and ask if anybody's here to file, and if you walk up after that, that's the law does not allow it after 4 o'clock, and we will go by this time, satellite time. It is after 6:30 already. I thought I was gonna buzz through here. If anybody knows me and my family, though, we tend to run long. Let's look at a couple of other things before we get out of here. Elections can't happen without our unbelievable precinct election officers, our poll workers. If you're interested in that, definitely give me a holler. Come on down. We'll get you signed up. For those that have worked in the past, expect sometime in February, expect a letter that asking you to serve again and thanking you for your service. We do early voting, election day voting. It is a paid position, but it's not as much pay as they deserve. But yeah, if you're interested, I was out in town today. I can't say where, but because my wife might be watching, and the place I was at had something to do with her and the fact that it's December 23rd, and hint hint. But yeah, anyway, I was out in town today, and somebody was like, "Hey, what about the poll work?" And my sister and I were just talking about it. I told them, I said, "Come on down, we'll use you." We always looking to add to our roster. Marion County was one of 2 of the 120 counties during the presidential election last year that had 12 hours of early voting all 3 days. That doesn't happen without our poll workers. A lot of counties have got to where they're doing 1 or 2 or 3 vote centers in the whole county on election day. Marion County has 12 polling locations on election day, everywhere from Holy Cross to Bradfordsville, Gravel Switch to Raywick, multiple places in Lebanon. We got one in St. Mary's and Loretta, and spread throughout the county. And that definitely does not happen without our poll workers. That's the main reason that we can still have that level of coverage on election day. It's the reason that we can have that many hours of early voting, is because we have a dedicated group of poll workers. And if you'd like to be a part of that amazing group, my email address is up there, chad.mattingly@ky.gov. Get on the roster. We can sure use you, and it will be a blessing to us to have you. Let's keep on moving on here. You're going to see our website right there. It's Marion Clerk KY.gov. Arrow that points to our free online deed room. That's getting more and more. Got a couple of fellers dedicated that are doing indexing and scanning for their home for the holidays. And one of them texted me today and said, "Hey, can we come in the office tomorrow and work on that on Christmas Eve?" And I said, "Yes, sir. Come on down," because they're back in they're in book 73 right now, I think. But we're every day that online deed room gets more and more digital images and indexes, and it's no paywall. There's no account that you need to get on. You just get on and you look at public land records. It's I'm happy with it. And we've got parts of that online deed room that other counties don't have, and that we didn't have, this time last year. So it's been a good year about getting some things moving forward here at the clerk office. One of the things that we added this year, other than the online deed room, is that title watch. You can sign up. That does require an account. You do have to set up an account, because they're going to need to send you text messages or email alerts if one of the keywords that you put in, one of the names or keywords or however you want to watch, if something happens, then you get a notification almost immediately. We don't have very many people that have signed up. I was had a friend of mine down in Loretta that was in here the other day, and he had signed up here, I thought. But I contacted our vendor for that and asked if she had any record of it, and she didn't. And as of right now, our sign-ups for that title watch system are kind of low, and we sign up. You hear people talking about deed fraud, and hold on, there we go. Let's get that slide up there. That QR code will take you directly to it, or you can look for that box on our website at Marion Clerk KY.gov. I'm getting text messages here from my beautiful wife. I think she's saying it's after 6:30, maybe. I'm having a hard time deciphering that emoji. But yeah, sign up for Title Watch. It is free to you. And if we don't, it costs us. It was kind of something that whenever we were getting that free online deed room and reworking our contract with our vendor, I kind of asked for everything and kind of told them that we didn't. Yes, ma'am. I think that's what she's telling me. I kind of asked for everything and told them that we didn't really have any more money, but we wanted everything, but we couldn't pay them anymore. And they pretty much delivered. So that Title Watch system doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't really cost us anything, but we are paying a little bit more because we did get a whole lot more of that .gov address. We're a whole lot more secure and open at the same time than we were, and you know, everything costs a little bit more, but what we're paying for it cost us the same whether you sign up or don't sign up. So if we have a few sign up or a bunch sign up, it costs us the same. So sign up, get some use out of it. It might save some heartache down the line. So that's a lot of what's going on right here. During our last live event, we started something where we spotlighted different things that were going on in the county. We focused on the Career Center last time. Amazing work that they're doing at the Career Center. When the state started shutting down career centers, your county government stood up and said, we need this. And the folks that work at the Career Center took a gamble on going from being state employees to county employees. And it's a great investment made by our county. And so we talked about that in depth last time. This time, another thing that our county has that a lot of other counties have farmed out to private companies is our garbage pickup. That goes through the road department sanitation division. Most counties are getting away from locally controlled and publicly operated garbage pickup and farming out that responsibility. The decision to do that is an easy decision for county judges and fiscal courts and detention centers and road departments and all the people that it takes to make that happen, to make county run garbage pickup happen. It would be easier to just farm it out and let somebody else do it. But would it be better? And much like everything in life, the hard things are the things that are worthwhile. Taking the easy option is not always the best option. County-run sanitation means that your neighbor's garbage is still going to get picked up even if they get a little bit behind in their bill. If you farm it out to these private companies, if you don't pay, they don't pick it up. But that doesn't just affect the person that doesn't pay. That affects the neighbors on their left and the right. That affects the neighbors across the street. It affects the neighbors over across the holler. If the county's going to pick it up, and they're going to worry about that bill a little bit later, and the bill stays cheaper when the county runs it. There's public accountability to the price that you pay to get that garbage picked up. Local pickup means that you have a local person to talk to if you need to set up the service or change service, or if they accidentally forgot to pick you up that day. Garbage pickup is a public good, and as a citizen of this county, I'm glad that our county officials have decided to continue this service. I'm thankful to the drivers and the folks that ride the back of the truck in the heat and the cold and the wet weather and the windy weather. It's a tough job, and I'm thankful that they do it. Now, with that said, there's a couple of holidays coming up, and Thursday and Friday are holidays in Marion County. They're state holidays, they're county holidays, Christmas and the day after. So that garbage, I'm a Thursday garbage person. Our garbage gets picked up on Thursday, and Thursday's Christmas Day. So I need to, before I come in the office in the morning, I need to set out our garbage tomorrow morning. It's going to get picked up on Wednesday. So if your garbage generally gets picked up on Thursday, you will set it out the day before, this week and next week. That's tomorrow. If you have Thursday garbage pickup, set out your garbage early tomorrow, because they're going to be picking up 2 days. So they're going to be starting earlier, and they're probably going to be trying to get done so that they can, it's Christmas Eve. They're going to be wanting to get done. So I'm probably, when I get home, I'm probably going to set out my garbage. Now, if you've got a Friday schedule, if you usually get picked up on Friday, I had on there the first time regularly, but I have a hard time saying the word regularly. So I changed it to usually. If your usual garbage pickup is on Friday, then it's going to get picked up next Monday, which is also going to be a double up day. They're going to be picking up this Friday's garbage and next Monday's garbage next Monday. It's going to be the same way next week. Thursday garbage will be picked up on Wednesday, and Friday garbage will be picked up on the Monday after. So thanks to the garbage collection. Thank you to you, to the folks that have dropped off treats here at the office. My belt does not thank you, but I do from the bottom of my heart. It's we've had cookies, and like I said, I was working on some Chex Mix before we started this live event. I was working on tomorrow's deposit and daily report and nibbling on some Chex Mix. Everybody knows I'm a Chex Mix fiend, and so I was working on some of that. So, you know, we're thankful during the holiday season when we get some sweet treats from our local car dealers, our local banks, our local law offices, the people that are real estate agents that we work with on a daily basis. You know, our family members and friends here in Marion County that drop us off some treats, and we're thankful to be a part of this Marion County experience. We're thankful to you for allowing you to let us serve you, and we thank those that asked a question, and those of you that have made it this far in either the recording or the live event. So, on behalf of my beloved family and my amazing co-workers here at the County Clerk Office, here's wishing you a very Merry Christmas. And I'm planning on being back in here next week, because again, December 31st is a big deal around here. You know, we're trying to make this attempt to inform and educate and have this conversation as much as possible before then. I think after the first of the year, we'll try to do this at least on a monthly basis. Maybe not, definitely not, you know, probably not. I don't know. Here's what I do know. I'm going to try to do this again next Tuesday night, because we want to get the word out about some of these deadlines that are coming up. And so for now, I'm wishing you a very Merry Christmas. If for some reason, for technical reasons or life or whatever, or you're not able to join us next Tuesday, Happy New Year as well. I'm wishing you all a great night. I'm signing off as the luckiest man in Marion County and the luckiest clerk in Kentucky. I'm your county clerk, Chad G. Mattingly. Let's end it with that beautiful Marion County flag. God bless y'all. Merry Christmas.